morning to all. I'd like to welcome you this evening to the Laguna Monterey Water District regular board meeting. Notice is hereby given the Board of Directors to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas on the 13th day of December 2017 at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on December 7th, 2017 at 2 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041, 551-050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. We do have the presence of a full board. We do have a quorum. But may please have everyone stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Charles, you want to proceed with the invocation?
Yeah. Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, please let us sustain, let us have a good meeting, and we consider to your reverence having said these things in Jesus Christ.
Thank you. Item 3, invitation to the audience for public comments. We don't have audience, but yes, welcome. How are you, Senor? Please come. Yes.
My name is Robert Vela.
Yes, we know who you are. Please say, is the mic turned on?
Robert Vela.
Yes, sir.
I came because of, on October the 11th, I came and asked about the water lights operators operating a highly efficient plant by themselves. And first time they said they weren't, then they said they were. But they had special permit, special written permit or something. And then they said that there was we talked to somebody. And I don't believe the ECQ contradicts themselves because I read what they got and they don't do that. I don't think they do that. But there's a little confusion here on the water plant operators can be on that plant with a higher license or a C or a D while they're running that plant. That's a highly efficient plant with chlorine dioxide running on it, you know. So this plant, I don't believe it is automatically run. When it shuts down, somebody has to start it. And on the feeders, somebody has to change the feed. See, they constantly check in the feed. I worked in the plant, and I know, but they say this plant is fully automatic. I don't believe it because it's a combination of the old plant and the new plant, and that was the electricians that were doing it back then. But it is true that they can be there when a C or a B license operator is there, so they can move something or they do something, they'll correct them or something, but they cannot be there 24/7 by themselves running the plant because there is times when they have to change the feed because maybe at this time of the hour you're feeding 3, 4, 5 million gallons, so all of a sudden it goes down or whatever or it goes up. The feed I don't believe it changes automatically. Somebody's got to do it. And this 24/7 deal, they can tell you, I'm on the phone 24/7. How far do you live from there? You got to be 24/7 right there in the spot where that guy is running it. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for addressing your comments with us. We appreciate it. Staff, board, anyone like to share or discuss anything at this time? Yes.
I just want to say thank you for my shirts.
I'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays and hope you have a safe and great time and fun time with the family and make memories.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Moving forward to item number 3, invitation to the item 4, consider and approve minutes of the regular meeting of November 8th, 2017. So everyone had a chance to review them. Any comments or questions, changes or amendments? If not, ask for approval.
So moved.
A motion made by Mr. Houston for approval.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They are. Any opposed?
Abstain.
For the record, R. Wells abstains.
I wasn't, yeah.
Are all those in favor? Alex?
Aye.
Yes,
Aye.
okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Moving to item number 5, General Manager's Report. Carlos?
Chairman and members of the board, I did provide for you a garbage payment collection report for the city of Laguna Vista and the city of Port Isabel. I don't know if y'all had time to see that one, but it's just a report to show you what the Laguna Vista's requirements are and Port Isabel's and the districts. And we can discuss this further if y'all would like, or have an agenda item on approving or disapproving. It depends on what the board wants to look at. And, okay.
We're not in the garbage business, folks.
You all need and require more information. I know that they sent me kind of late an agreement. But looks like when we discussed with the city of Laguna Vista, the interlocal agreement is going to be with Laguna Madre and the garbage company, which is,
That's not possible.
so, right. So they are picking the
Legal
the
question.
funds directly.
You can't have an interlocal agreement with a municipality and private enterprise.
So,
It would just be an agreement.
It'd be an agreement, not an interlocal agreement.
so that's what we have with the city of Laguna Vista, and, because the customers there pay directly to the garbage company, not to the city of Laguna Vista. That's on that one.
Go ahead, finish your report.
Yes, and the other one is, for the city of Port Isabel, they pay Port Isabel directly. So there's quite a few, requirements that we would have to meet is, implementing our accounting, encode system. And, then we'd have to, once we reach that payment, throughout the month, we'd have to send the funds to their bank or have an account at our bank and then release it to them. It'll be kind of like worked out, but we don't have the whole, I would say,
You get some mic?
steps to move forward on it yet until we need more information. If anything, then what is that?
That's a hearing aid.
Oh,
No, it's a hearing aid.
I thought I heard it earlier.
It's a hearing aid.
Will you turn the mic off, please? Possibly it's the mic.
Button.
So it's up to the board if y'all want to continue and move forward on this.
Yes, Noel?
In the interest of discussion, that's where I am right now. I will reserve my yes or no on this. In the interest of discussion right now, in your report, thank you, it outlined it quite a lot and brought up, as we were asking before, I asked before, what are the pros and cons? And with that, I see some legal questions, and one of the legal questions I have will be under the city of Laguna Vista, number 2. We can't cut off the water to collect somebody's trash bill, garbage bill. That's a legal question. And then we get in here as references interlocal agreement, it'd just be an agreement. And then we'd have to answer if it would really be an agreement with Republic or with the municipality that's enforcing the ordinance. And so it's a legal question to me, who it would be involved with, because the municipality has an agreement with Republic to provide services. And they have another agreement to let Republic bill directly in the case of Laguna Vista. And so it gets a little complicated there, that we get into some legal questions, in my mind. And then, but beyond all of that, when we can get into the legal answers, would be before I can even begin to say it makes sense for the district or not, I need to see some dollars and cents associated. I've got items 2 through 10 as cost to the district. And then at the bottom of the Laguna Madre Water District, down there in number 11, 12, they do concern me.
Yes.
And the auditors said we're crazy. I'm paraphrasing.
I'm not going against the auditors.
Well, let me finish, Rick. It does concern me. I'd like to have reasons why, and, you know, if we progress that further, I'd like a letter. I think we should have a letter from them outlining their position here. And that's not in the scope of their contract now, so that would be an added expense to the district to ask them for their professional opinion. So before we can go any further, one, a few of these legal questions need to be addressed: who, what, and where. And then, what is it going to cost the district? I haven't seen the proposed agreement from Port Isabel or Laguna Vista. What is the income to the district? I put this as just really a very simple contract for services, and we would need to see what is it going to cost us, and then what is the income to offset that, and then the real question will be for us to evaluate the asset or burden to the district overall.
And I didn't get all the information because they didn't provide all the information as we were.
Well, I appreciate you following up.
Keep on going and
That would be my recommendation, that, you know, we get a little more information, particularly the cost analysis, kind of a P&L on this venture.
Yes.
I'd like to point out, I know a little about this, enforcement is a nightmare. We have so many people coming and going. You don't know who needs a can, who doesn't need a can, blah, blah, blah. I know somebody personally that lived 2 years at Harbor Island that never had a can because he's sitting there drinking some coffee. And you can't enforce anything, and it's just going to be constant hassle. And we've got enough things right now on our plate, and I don't even think we should consider it, period.
If it's not a positive revenue stream, I would agree with that. If it's
There's just so many hassles.
It's a lucrative.
If it made money, they wouldn't want to dump it off on us.
Well, it's not a matter of making money, it's a matter of compliance, number one. It surprises me here that Port Isabel only has 900 accounts.
Because there's 500 not paying.
Well, that's a problem.
That is the problem.
That's the problem.
Enforcement is a
For Port
nightmare.
Isabel,
All
they
they're
can't-
trying to do is just get us to mail the bill. They want to handle everything else. They can't, which I don't understand the logistics behind that, why they can't just
Well,
mail their
because
own bills.
we know where the houses are, we know who's in the house. If there's a person in the house, they should have water and trash.
Yes.
And most communities
Correct.
have that.
Wanting us to do the enforcement.
Well, if we know who's there, why don't we just give them that list?
May I ask a legal
There you go.
question? That's a question that we need to ask legal. Would that be appropriate for the district to share that customer list with the city?
It's open record.
It's open record.
Mhm.
So,
So they would just have to request that list and we could give it to them. And they'd know who to go after.
And they have that before, they have the executive board.
Yeah, I think what they may be trying to do is leverage your police power to, because you're a government entity, to enforce payment of water, which is essential, so that they can leverage that when garbage bills aren't paid, right? Is you don't pay your garbage bill, we'll cut off your water.
I don't
That
want to
seems
be
more urgent.
responsible for someone else's services.
The-
This is my
Well,
opinion.
the only way that would pass through is does their agreement with the city then entitle them to some of the enforcement power that the city otherwise has as a
Here comes the man.
government entity? That's the legal question.
Repeat that again, I'm sorry.
Does a private vendor who has a contract with the city, can he leverage the police power of the city or the jurisdiction or enforcement power of the city in enforcing that contract, which is essentially a local entity service like garbage pickup?
Well,
but Port Isabel's not asking for that, Laguna Vista is.
Right,
And we don't want to be in that enforcement position.
right.
It's a matter of putting a stamp on including them on our invoice, our billing, and that would be the extent of the service
That you're providing.
that we're
The district is
providing. And so we were asking before, where is the backlash going to come? Because it's going to be coming, the bill's now going to be coming from Water District. Mr. Hockman is here, and one of the questions we asked earlier was, why does Port Isabel only have 900 customers in their count? Laguna Vista has 1,800 by our report. And so the analogy was given that you just don't know that the people are there and you're not collecting from everybody.
You know, I don't know why they would have so many customers with their population. They have a lot more single-family homes.
Would you step up to the microphone, please?
Sure.
Yeah, if you put the mic on it.
For the record, yes,
Yeah, I was
state.
gonna say, which one's on, this one? This one? There it goes. For the record, it's Jared Hawk from the city of Port Isabel. I'm not sure why they have more customers. I don't know their numbers, if that's actually the number. Surprising they have that many with their population, but we do have a lot of people who live in multi-family type situations, trailer parks, things like that, where they have a dumpster for that, so that takes away a lot of our population that would have the single-family type things. We also have larger family size. So, you know, relative to a population of Laguna Vista, you might have 1 or 2 people in a household. Here we have 3 or 4 people, so when you're comparing, yes, it's a larger population, but the housing situation is different. I think that's what's reflected in the number of accounts. As far as accounts that are unknown to us, we have a pretty rigorous effort that we undertake to make sure that everybody who should subscribe to the garbage service does so. We conduct audits with the provider. Code enforcement goes around, and in the past, we did have people that were not subscribing, and we, in fact, when I started, we actually added about 60 or 70 more people, if not more than that, that were not subscribing. But we literally go door by door every so many months, and we look, compare the list. Do they have garbage service? Is there a car here? Is there, you know, it looks like people are living in this house. If they don't, then we knock on the door and say, hey, you're required to have garbage service. You're occupying this structure. So I don't think we have a lot of accounts that are going to pop up.
Our finance department said that they have provided a list of water district subscribers to the city before, so are y'all making use of that, or do you need another one?
Yeah,
If they're paying a water, that's the whole analogy. If they're paying a water bill, they have to have trash.
Yeah.
And it's a living resident, I mean, someone's living in the residence.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's...
Occupying.
Yeah, of course, could there be people who are not, that should have it? Yes, I'm sure there are. With this, when we find out more of them, I think yes, and we certainly would find out faster. Because when they sign up for water, then it's going to be, you know, right there we know, hey, they need to have garbage service.
Well, the comments made before you came in were, and I made some comments that, you know, we have a general memo on of what's been found out so far, but what's lacking here are some legal questions that would have to be addressed. And more importantly to the district, we need to look at this, in my view, just as any business transaction. It's a service agreement. And so how much is the district going to make? What's it going to cost the district? And the only way I individually can look at this is what's the benefit to the district. Yes. And so if we, and I propose that we continue working together, the district staff and the city, working together to come up with some numbers that I can wrap my head around to make a decision if this is viable for the district or not. We have a pretty split board already. We have some I'm interested in exploring this more without, you know, taking any action one way or the other, but thank you for your input, but this is just a preliminary input report. So now let's get down to the meat and potatoes, and that's the P&L.
Yeah, and if I may, I did, based on the last conversation we had, I went to Los Fresnos and got their agreement that they have with East Rio Hondo Water Supply. And I made some additions to it to clarify procedures, to make sure that in theirs, they would ask East Rio Hondo to cut people's water off. We took that out of here where it said we're specifically not asking to cut off anybody's water. We're just asking to send out the bill, take the money, and turn it to us. But in that agreement, I put in there a fee, which is subject to negotiation with y'all for the setup of the account. I believe it's $10 an account that I had in there. So y'all would get paid that to cover your costs of whatever computer programming, the staff, inputting, all that, whatever it would be. And then there's a monthly fee that would be in there. There's also a fee anytime there's an addition or deletion and kind of change. So you know, when people they suspend their service or they start it back, there would be a fee because of course y'all incur a cost, whether your time or whatever it is, to cover that. So we're open to negotiation. We're not doing this to take advantage of the water district or make money off the water district. In fact, you know, this is money that we're spending that we felt could be better directed into your services. We're really doing it number one, for the convenience of the customers, and two, I think it would help compliance a little bit, although I don't think we have a really major compliance problem in Port Isabel. But there's, you know, the numbers, talk to us, I mean, we're willing to talk about that. We just put that out as a starter in that agreement. Y'all can look at it, and if you feel it should be more, let us know. We'll talk about it.
Are you actually using 4 employees just from garbage collection?
No.
That's what is our report.
No, sir, we
To
have
handle the
4
services?
employees. We have 4 employees in our entire finance department.
Where'd you see that?
We have one clerk
Number
that
4.
handles,
Employees that handles.
one clerk that handles all of the, all payments received by the city. And she also handles the.
That's your
garbage
finance department?
Yes, but she does everything on her own. But she doesn't do just this, she handles the event center, the community center, the boat ramp, I mean, everything, the museum, everything that has to court, all those payments, she does that.
All the income.
Yeah, and she also does, of course, when the people call and they complain about, you know, I didn't get my garbage picked up or whatever, she's the one that interfaces and follows up on that. And in the agreement, we still designate her as the person that we're gonna have somebody that's available. There's gonna be a number where people can call, so if somebody calls and they say, you know, my garbage can didn't get picked up, or, whatever it is, it's stolen, whatever it could be, all y'all have to do is just refer to our staff member that we have, and then they handle it from there.
2 things. One,
Yes.
I thank you for clarifying that, because that was kind of a red flag to me. We're, you know, 4 people, no, that's not an issue. Thank you. The other thing is, I'm going to assume that if it proceeded, that it could be put on the bottom of the bill or somewhere in the bill where it's noticeable that any complaints about garbage can be directed to this number.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't come to the district.
Yeah, and I mean, we anticipated there'd be obviously some type of outreach. Obviously, if we did this, we'd have to send out a letter at our expense to the customers, letting them know, have advertisements, you know, any type of flyers, whatever we need to do to advise people about this well in advance, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, whenever the switchover would happen. And of course, there could be a number on there for people to call.
I would like to proceed, gather more information. I'd like staff to give a call to East Rio Hondo. Is that who you mentioned before?
Yeah,
East
Los
Rio Hondo.
uses East Rio Hondo.
Use for Los Federals, just say, hey guys, how's it working? As an idea. And just,
I've got a comment. If we are gonna proceed based on how much money we can make, I think it'd be a good idea to figure out what that threshold is now, before we put our staff through a lot more work, getting all this information together. I think it'd be a good thing to talk about and figure out, okay, is it money driven for us? Because it's convenience driven for the city, but is it money driven for us? And is that the threshold we need to cross? I mean, we need to think about that, because if money is what's gonna convince us to keep it, then, we need to figure out what that threshold is. And if it's something you have in your head, we need to hear it. I'd like to hear it before we put our staff through a lot of more work.
well, I don't have a number in my head. I haven't seen any of that information. You know, maybe they share the general agreement with us.
He's here, maybe he can provide that information also for
Well, I
the
mean,
city.
as far as what it costs us, it's really, I mean, we already have the staff members, so we're not paying her anymore. I mean, we.
What
pay
does
them.
East Rio Hondo pay, or Los Fresnos
Oh, what are they
pay?
paying?
Yes, what is,
80.
Well, the setup fees and that, I based it off of what they were paying.
was $10 per account?
Yeah, I believe it's $10 an account to set up.
Monthly?
No, that's.
That's a one-time-
That's the setup, and then
one-time setup.
Then they have a fee they charge per month. I think the way they did theirs was a percentage, but they're actually also collecting, Los Fresnos is also collecting like other services besides the garbage. So of course ours is a smaller, because we're just $20 or whatever it is, so they were charging 1.75%, but of course 1.75% of, $23 is not that much.
What's the cost of the monthly container for a residential?
$23.75, I believe.
Annually?
No, monthly.
A monthly?
Monthly. Yes, $23.75. Now, if they have more than one, then it goes up. I think it's like, I don't remember the exact price for additional, but it's a little bit more. And then the commercial a little higher. We have very few commercial. It's almost all residential, because the commercial mostly have their dumpsters and they deal directly with solid waste.
Yeah, I pay directly.
Directly to them, or whoever you want to use, residential.
Well, I do have one of the questions, maybe you can answer right now.
Sure.
Do you know the monthly revenue that comes into the city?
It's around, $25,000 to $30,000.
And what are your costs?
Well, just what we pay out of waste. I mean, we charge, I believe, 10% more than we collect on our waste.
For the island?
So what we pay out, so whatever
About $2,000 a month?
Public
$2,000
bills
a month,
meaning
$2,000 a
annually.
month?
No, 5,000. Oh, that we're taking in?
Right, the actual, I guess.
It's probably about 2,500 that we clear.
A month.
But that's what we use for like the charge-off account, all that covers. So probably around 2,500 that we net.
For the year?
Out of the,
That's what I thought you could do, 180 a year.
yeah, roughly 30,000.
And that's the profit.
And if I don't pay it, I mean,
That's the profit.
they're
Well,
there.
we don't make that much because you have to write off like people that don't pay and,
Right.
so it's, you know, we might.
But we wouldn't be necessarily looking at that based on what we talked about.
Well, that's like, I don't know, I need to look what our write-off percentage is, it's not that high, so we probably write off.
Bill it every 6 months.
I'll probably run at least 15,000 a year, and then what we're spending to send it out is about, you know, 5,000 or 8,000 a year with the postage and all that we send out. The postage is about 48 cents or 46 cents, and then you have the envelope, so, I could figure it out, it's about $4,000 or $5,000 worth of, you know, postage and envelopes. So we might make 10,000 out of it after all is said and done. This wouldn't really change that because we'd be paying y'all. We probably would make less, to tell you the truth, because of the fees to set it up back and forth. Like I said, what we're gaining is we think we'd have a little, probably less collection. So that 15,000 we're writing off, maybe we'd be writing off 12 or 10 instead of 15. And then we have people that, when people cut off their service, a lot of times, I know they'll cut off the water service, they might not cut off the garbage, and then we have those 2 months, so we save that. It's not really a cost so much as it's just a compliance type issue that we might have some savings. Couldn't really quantify that, but I think that we'd gain that. But the number one reason why we want to do it really is because, you know, we're not going to get rid of any employees or, you know, really save any money. It probably will cost us more, although we may make it back to a little better compliance.
So we're looking at about somewhere under 10,000 a year.
Yeah, you'd probably the changes. The first year would be more because we would pay you the setup for everybody. So that's, you know, 9,000 or whatever it would come out to. And then you have whatever changes would happen through the year. I need to look at it. I don't have it in front of me, I have it on my tablet, but it's.
Comment.
I don't know if you have it there, what I put in there, but it's, you know, so many dollars. Maybe $5, is it $5 per change, $3? For the changes, so it depends on the number of changes. If we could figure out how many times that changes, you know, that there's changes made throughout the year, and then the 50 cents per month per customer. And of course, that's negotiable. I mean, if y'all tell us, well, we charge 75 cents, I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, and I guess part of the reason the money is important is because, I think we burned through that money easily in 1 year through just communications back and forth, about who paid, who didn't pay, things like that, you know, and I mean, that's.
Added expense.
I almost feel like we would have to create a department. I realize that's probably a little exaggerated, but, I feel like we'd have to have a dedicated person for that. And that's part of my concern. I could blow through that easily, just for that employee.
We set up a pretty streamlined procedure, and, you know, basically, all we wanted is just a report generated every month of what was taken in by account, and then the money remitted to us, and then we'll reconcile it against our. So, you know, I think that they would have to run a report every month of what was collected, you know, on those bills, which I believe your system can do that, and they would send that to us, and we do the reconciliation from there, and we'll pursue our collection against the people that owe us.
And I think that's, in all fairness, that's the only one thing that I really like about it is the ease to the customer. You know, I totally get that. But the logistics of us taking that on, there's a lot of unknowns. And the math obviously is one of them, which we can figure out easily, but until you actually did it, you wouldn't know just how many problems you're going to encounter. And I could foresee, like I said, actually creating a little department just to take care of that issue.
Doyle, please.
I'll make a quick final comment, and that would be that at the risk of butting into the city's business, I think what you'll be wise is to kind of decide if the city wants to stay in business of garbage collection on the island. They're not in the business of collecting garbage. We pay once every 6 months or once a year at a lot lower rate than what a monthly rate is to the city. I'm sorry, I can't quote you the numbers, but it's $10 or $15 a month by the time we pay semi-annually. So maybe the city would like to address that and see if you really want to stay in that. And I know if I don't pay my service to Republic, boom, they let me know, they pick my can up, and they notify the city, and the city's on me for violating ordinance and everything else. So I think I would ask the city to address their monthly billing as opposed to a semi-annual billing, or something that could be more economic to the customer, and or just let Republic handle it.
Well, the thing with Republic is they charge, I think it's $1.50 or more than this. It's a pretty high charge. It's really way more.
On a monthly basis.
Yeah.
But on a semi-annual, it's
Or quarterly or
then
semi.
our people would have to come up with that money. A lot of them are, so for them, you do $23.75 times 12, you're talking about like $300.
yeah, but it wouldn't be that much when you're paying annual or semi-annual, to where it could be down to 15 quarterly, or, you know. I don't know, I'm out of my realm of expertise or knowledge, and it would just, sit down and ask what it would be to do a quarterly or semi-annual or annual fee.
The island has a very low garbage fee compared to, we're not that much higher than those cities. I'm not sure why it is, they're lower, maybe compactness, I don't know what the reason is.
But that's directly with Republic, it's not with the island.
Yes, but in other words, I don't know that us going to them would result in it going down that much.
They'd have to, compared to even Laguna Vista, which is lower.
We charge less than Laguna Vista. Laguna Vista, I think, is close to $30 a month. So we're lower than that.
But are they paying Republic directly? Laguna Vista's paying Republic as a billing company.
Directly, and then Laguna Vista gets money back from the public.
Well, we can go on forever with this, but right now, I'd still just like
We
to
need
see
to
some
kinda wrap it up
more of the
a little bit with
numbers. Thank you. More of the numbers associated with this, the cost benefit. If it's 10 grand, I can't go with that.
Yeah, just something for clarification. Regardless of who is sending out that bill or paying for it, the city of Port Isabel still has to back.
We pay, yes.
The Republic is gonna require you, regardless of who's collecting it, or
Yes.
who's billing it, to be the
Guarantor.
backup, the guarantee.
Yes, we pay them. If the customers don't pay, we still have to pay them.
Right. Okay.
I would agree with Joel that we need to proceed further with a little more investigation. I don't see it as being that cumbersome if all the water district would do is collect the money and on a monthly basis send to the cities, okay, so-and-so and so-and-so, they didn't pay, here's a list, handle it. It's convenience for the customer. I would love to just,
Pay one bill.
yeah.
We need to kind of wrap it up, no
Yeah.
offense, Jared, but we got agenda full of items.
I'm not offended.
Okay, so at this point, what does everyone choose to do, I guess,
Well, it's
proceed?
not an action item.
No, but I mean, gotta give staff an idea of direction.
I'd prefer to move forward and gather some more information myself.
Okay. Moving on to item number 6.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Item 6, District Engineers Report.
Alright, yeah, the first item is just an update on the construction here at Port Isabel wastewater treatment plant. CSA construction is just chugging right along. The header is going good, they've got, a lot of the equipment in place already up there for the dirt removal, head cell and grit washing equipment. They're starting a lot of the yard piping and getting over to the aeration basin, and they're also installing the electrical ducting and receiving some electrical equipment. So that's basically where we're at right now. With the current schedule, we're looking at probably starting up the headworks around March of 2017 or 2018, and then of course they're going to shift entirely to all the aeration basin rehab to finish out by August of next year. So that's basically where we're at right now on treatment plant. And then I guess the next item is looking at financial assistance for Texas Water Development Board for our potential revenue notes, kind of a follow-up to what we had in our workshop on December 6th. And I attended a workshop in Edinburgh on the 12th, and really for standard clean water and drinking water SRF loans, that really isn't on an annual cycle. You can basically apply at any time. And so it's a matter of just submitting those, in the project information forms and kind of making that request. So the application process is about a 9 to 10 month period. And then I gave, I forgot the points below market. I think for drinking water, it's 135 basis points below market for the applicant. And on clean water, it's 165 basis points below over market. So that's the kind of discount we would be looking at by going through Water Development Board and through their financing.
Charles, I hate to be dead, but the information you gave us in the packet, what is that?
Oh, we just...
Which bullet is that referencing?
The hydraulic, the system model. In 2012, we did a full model of our...
Okay,
water
which bullet in your report does that correlate to?
The third one. The third one.
Water distribution hydraulic model?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, sorry, I guess I should have been a little more careful. But yeah, I mean, that's basic. So, you know, it sounds like we're still on track with our financial assistance, just to submit those project information forms based on the project list we discussed in the workshop, and go from there. Which, of course, just to clarify, it would be the flush holding tanks in Port Isabel, the flush basin water plant 2, and then lift station rehab and water meter system. I don't know, I guess I can move on to the next one unless you're...
Maybe it would be helpful, I'm speaking for the board here, because two of the board members weren't here at that, maybe you can just send kind of a synopsis of what the workshop was that we kind of allocated of trying to move forward. I think there was like 1 through 10, and we were saying 1 through 6.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we did is we
not to burden it now, but for the full board to keep us in track of what we discussed, and the members that weren't present at the workshop, to kind of see what our direction is. Maybe just send us that clean version of that one page of 1 through 10.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And so the next item, I guess, is just a hydraulic model. I went ahead and pulled the section out of our 2012 model for the 2025 analysis of our capability of meeting, pressure requirements on the island. And really, to meet our pressure requirements, we need to have both water plants 1 and 2 running. And it's mainly for the high service pumps at water plant 1. They're needed in combination with water plant 2 to be meeting our pressure demand. And that itself is enough pumps to meet our pressure out there on the island. But that's just basically, really the support for making sure that our water plants are safe, operational, and we turn it on in the summers. And it's mainly to maintain our pressure during peak flow conditions at the island.
Are you needing the pumps for pressurizing the lines, or pumps for filling the tanks to maintain proper pressure?
Both. But it's mainly pressurizing the lines.
Pressurizing the lines.
Right. And then making sure the tanks don't go empty.
So you're still looking at, elevated tanks for our general pressure.
Right. I mean, really, if we want to look at actual improvements beyond what we already have today, I mean, we could look into adding storage on the north end of the island, booster pumps.
So the tanks we have right now, if they're full, they'll have pressure, but they won't handle the volume necessary. So we're having to pressurize on the beginning from the water plants to push the volume necessary in peak times.
Yeah, well, we always have to be pumping out, and it's a matter of, we have, how many pumps? We have 4 pumps at water plant 2? And then 5 pumps at water plant 1, right? Or 4. So there's basically 4 high service pumps. And based on the demand, we turn on 2 pumps, 3 pumps, as needed to meet the minimum system pressure. Or if you'll basically touching things, is that what we watch?
So this tank is our main tank on the island, long monitor. And, I mean, for the most part, we use it, especially now, however, with the island and all that stuff, that's really the struggle with it. And if we can pump from water plant 1 with a 3 pump, it'll help with that pressure issue. And use it as our pump station.
Yeah, I mean, I just highlighted kind of the main points of this as I was reading through it, rather than give you the full report.
So we're not going to get in the weeds now.
Exactly. And so to make a long story short, what this report is saying is with the pumps coming out of water plant 1 in combination with pumps coming out of water plant 2, we can meet our pressure requirements at the island without adding additional booster pumps or storage or anything. But we need to make sure that water plant is when the island's fully occupied. So that's basically how we can meet our
How critical, when you're attempting to maintain that pressure on the island, how critical is the pressure over here? And what kind of potential damage are we looking at?
Well, if you have high pressure, or big pressure spikes with an altitude valve closes, I mean, that's when you can have a main break, Or, you know, you'll deal with basically pipes dealing with pressures that are too high that'll cause pipes to break. I mean, that's what we need to control. I mean, at the same time, you know, the issue would be getting pressure too high or big spikes in Laguna Vista while you're still trying to get your minimum pressure at the island.
Right.
So that's what you have to balance out.
Right, and I guess that's what I'm concerned, we've never had an issue with that before, that it's actually created a problem because of the high pressure over here?
No, I mean, because, since our high pressure only gets up to about 60 PSI, I mean, for the most part, you
The
know.
system can handle that easy?
Yeah, I don't think, what kind of pressure would you see before you really start? Yeah.
So we're not that far away, we're 90%.
Right, so it's just one of those to where, you know, we just need to make sure that we have water plant 1 running instead of just relying solely on water plant 2 in the long term, just to meet our pressure.
Because it makes more sense to use the plant that's closest to feed the island, it really does, but, the concern is that it might not be able to do it on its own.
Right, well, I mean, it's because where plant 1's located in the middle of our system, it's pushing out in both directions, and plus we have those connections like directly on the causeway that help feed the island. And so just with the way our pipes are set up, it's just a really nice location to pressurize the system versus water plant 2 being way out in the Laguna Vista. You have to push it all the way across.
This is essential, we're talking about supply and demand at each time to maintain the pressure. You know, March, April, the summer, that's when sometimes we have issues of the pressure because of the supply, it's not there. So, I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that I just want to mention is that there's no issue with the pressure in regards to supplying. It's just trying to help out, you know, the structures that you struggle with, the pump that they have to reach the top of the building.
Right.
And we just want to help out as much as we can.
yeah, like,
Just don't like the
And those are actually, according to the map, those are the problem areas, the ones on the north end.
Right.
Have the low pressure.
yeah, and over time, we just have to be more cognizant of, like examples are, if Schlitterbahn's gonna fill their part, we'll coordinate in advance and turn an extra high service pump.
So is another tank further north, is that an inevitable thing?
Well, maybe by 2040, but not within our planning horizon. I don't think we need to look at it just yet.
But your report today is that with the new pumps coming online and a rehab of water plant number 1, we're getting in better emergency shape to handle that.
It meets our.
That's really what your report is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is water plant number 1 gonna be rehabbed to the state of number 2?
Well, no, we don't have a plan. It's
We
still
wanted
conventional
to, but
central.
it's not
Yeah. Robert, do you want to add comment?
When I started here back in the 70s, 80s, we had two storage tanks in the island, and that, at that time, it solved the problem. You know, but when you're talking about it, sometimes you don't have to preach on water here for some reason, for a weather leak, or something happens in town, or some pump went out, and they had two storage tanks in the island that was over in the outside. They had pumps, I used to be the unit, I used to go start and we had plenty of water, never went out of water because of those two storage tanks. It was back in, I think in the early 80s.
And we didn't have, at that time, we didn't have water plant number 2. We built water plant number 2 in 1985.
Or all the development.
It kinda helped out, building new plant.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, right now, our current plan, water plant 1,
Yeah.
is to add the chlorine dioxide to get a stronger disinfectant, and that'll help us push more flow out of that plant. And so that'll be sufficient for any kind of rehab needs, to meet the pressure and everything else, so.
Let's kick it along, we gotta,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and State Silver, I mean, it was just, we had a, discussion about some ways to approach, safe at water plant 2. One of them being maybe dropping activated carbon in the rapid mix and letting it settle through the clarifiers. And I mean, that's one of those options where if we want to investigate that any further through a pilot study or take any action on doing something like that further.
How do you get it out after it's already filled up with
It would settle out in the clarifier, like with the alum, like all the flocculation and coagulation, it would settle out in that portion of the.
But that's just something else bulk for us to get rid of.
Yeah, basically instead of today in the arrest mix, we don't put alum, but there's the potential of adding activated carbon in addition to alum for taste.
I think that whistling is Robert's hearing aid.
yes.
Oh, that's what it is?
So
You can't
I don't
hear,
know
but we
if that's
can.
something further or just leave it alone for now.
Okay, let's move along. Item 7.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on the TCEQ training, Mr. Galvin and I spoke with Mr. Chris Cuttle from TCEQ, who is an environmental investigator, and we asked him about the possibilities of providing training for the board and concerning the issue of a D-licensed operator, and he advised that TCEQ does not do any training, but he did refer us that we look at Administrative Code 290. And, I'm sorry, I did provide a memo. It was a last-minute item that was submitted on your packet. It's in the front of the packet.
Are both the water plants, do they both have turbidity and disaffected monitors, both plants?
No, does it both have that?
They both have online.
Okay. Well, I know
Right.
Plant 2 does. I wasn't sure about Plant 1.
Right.
And according to the code, it says that each plant must have at least one Class C or higher operator on duty at the plant if it is in operation, or the plant must be provided with continuous turbidity and disinfectant residue monitors with automatic plant shutdowns and alarms to summon operators so as to ensure that the water produced continues to meet the Commission's drinking water standards during the periods when the plant is not staffed. And according to that, it's okay to have a D-licensed operator as long as they can get a hold of somebody. And in talking to Mr. Cantu, he said he's always available. He has his phone. Although currently we are not using a D operator. We have Plant 2 in operation. Plant 1 is being worked on. So right now we have 4 D licensed operators. We have 1 C, 3 A's, and a B operator. Once Plant 1 comes into operation, we're hoping that by that time some of the operators with D license will get their C license. We have 2 of them that are scheduled within the near future, say by January, and we're looking at the plant coming into operations in February. So we hope that we'll be okay by that time. But in any case, at this point it is safe, but they're not being used. We have A licensed and B licensed operators that are working shift work.
How far away is the guy we have to call?
I'm sorry?
How far away is the gentleman we have to call?
He's in Laguna Vista.
Okay. So he's close by.
And he did give us a number. He's available if we need to call him.
Chris Cottle is,
You talking about the
ready to...
TCQ guy or our staff?
The person that we need to call on in case of an emergency.
He's referring to the A license. The A license
Yeah, the A
available.
license.
We live in Laguna Vista.
Okay.
Well, no, we can answer that one.
Yeah, I'm 10 to 15 minutes out. The next guy, my second, is less than 10 minutes out.
Okay.
And we also have an A operator that's 5 minutes out.
There you go.
We live in Laguna Vista. Pretty close. But we do have Chris Cottle that he mentioned that he'd be on conference call for any questions that y'all wanna.
I don't
On the D
I don't
license?
think we need all that.
No, I don't think we need it.
Not in open session right now. I just want to point out that the board had asked staff to, I don't recall asking for TCQ to do a training session. We asked that
If we were compliant.
TECQ would come down and review the schedules and review compliance. We weren't asking to do training. To my
As far
recall.
as I can remember, y'all did ask for training, nothing on compliance. Am I correct?
That's what I understood.
That's what y'all requested?
Well, training
That's what
wouldn't do anything.
Mr. Eddie Lucio had mentioned that TCQ would be available at that time, he mentioned that. We can get TCQ over here and train you guys, but they don't. They don't
Okay.
do that. So,
But I
do y'all
think their
recall that?
questions have been answered.
You mentioned that
Yeah.
TCQ is easy, that
Well,
they're easy with everybody?
they could clarify is
All
what I meant.
sorry, this arose from questions to the board. And if TECQ has been consulted and advised of our questions, and they don't have any problem with it, I don't think that the board is prepared. I am not prepared to push on further with this. I just want to make sure that the district is in compliance.
Yes, sir.
Based on the warning that was given to the board, that we weren't. So if that's been satisfied, that's it for now.
Yes.
I think it's really just more of a question of when we alluded to other busy seasons, when we're really busy in those period months, and then it's all hands on deck. Don't drop the ball, and and getting into a bunch of overtime and everything else because we don't have enough qualified licenses to run any of these plants as required. Those are my thoughts.
Between now and what we're looking as far as the busy season, which is probably starts latter part of February, we are looking at getting at least 2 more C license operators. Or D license that will take the test so they can get their C license.
We're still doing on-the-job training.
All the time.
That'd be it, if you guys are satisfied with that.
Robert?
Any question?
Yes, go ahead, Robert.
This means that my question was back in October. Now I see it's a little bit different. If I was to call Chris Carter and ask him if they can run one of these plants like a lot of time in Rio Vista, he likes operating and running by himself at night, if it's okay. I asked him, he said no. But I'm gonna ask him again, and if it's true, I wanna ask him if he put it in the website so other water districts can do it too, Other people that they have to pitch it operator with qualified operators can do it too. If it's in the website, I went to the website, it doesn't say that. Probably your question was something else. My question was, if they could run the plant by themselves, with nobody there to correct them. Just for themselves at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're on the 24/7 schedule. That's what my question was.
According to this memo you gave us, he says yes.
He says yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, I ask that we keep moving on. We've got quite a few more items on the agenda.
Hey, one thing I'd
Yes.
like to point out is, and I take Mr. Gomez for what his word is, but this is from Mr. Gomez, this memo, it's not from the TCEQ guy. And
It's a synopsis of what was discussed.
well, sometimes I don't know that I would always trust a governmental bureaucrat
the
over the
TCQ
phone. Get it in writing from them.
Yes.
TCQ also mentioned that if you all have any questions, y'all can visit.
Call them directly and we can...
No, you can visit them at the
Yeah.
Harlingen office,
Yes.
and any questions that you have, they'll answer right there and then.
And we've seen a string, I asked for written verification, we were provided a string of emails from TCQ stating the same thing.
Right, correct.
Okay. Let's move on to item number 8. Consider and discuss overtime report for 2017 with possible action if necessary.
I did provide the information that was requested by Mr. Houston. I don't know what this is intending to, but information is in there.
Yeah, it was basically for my benefit to get a grasp, being new to the board, exactly what all is going on. There was nothing in here that struck me as being out of line or unusual.
Okay.
So I appreciate the information.
So in summary, if I read that, there's basically $40,000 annually of overtime costs, is that?
Yeah, and that's-
With all the midnight-
39,000.
With all the midnight calls, that sounds
No,
fair.
I mean, I don't personally don't think that's
No,
out of
either do
control.
I.
I think it's
For,
well, the only thing that I would add to that is that the only thing I did see that was questionable was in finance, and, we did have a lot of overtime in one individual there. But I think I answered my own question in that went back this is for a year's period, and this went back to when we were having audit problems, and it required a lot of extra work for everybody, and this individual particular, so that's my assumption.
Okay. Consider and discuss, so I guess there's no action at this time. Moving to item number 9. Consider and discuss for possible approval on agreement with Verizon Wireless for the antenna at Andy Bowie. Oof.
Okay, on this one here, I did call, Jeff Martella, the representative, and he talked to them again, and they said, you know what, they agreed to 3% and everything that the district, required. So in saying all this, if the board wants to move forward and agree to approve this, he said he'd send the new agreement with all those red lines corrected, and, he didn't want to move until the board approved the 3% and everything else that the board requested before he started working on the agreement.
Comments, Doyle?
They turned back and said that they agree with, you know, after the board had said no more agreements, so
Okay.
they're okay with everything now.
You're welcome.
Doyle is, we owe him on that one. He got it brought up.
But really, I do have some marks in here, and I do have some questions, and it would be more legal. They really haven't defined tower space.
150 square feet from what I read.
That's ground space.
That doesn't include the...
That does not include, that's the ground space, but they have not defined
'Cause
tower space. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary, other than having some language in here that would say that no more space shall be occupied than necessary for their equipment. That's kind of a legal question. My concern was, and still is, that, you know, they define ground space, they don't define tower space, and so if they put antenna arrays all the way around the tower, it could prevent the district from utilizing that space for another purpose. That's all I'm asking there. And then, you know, then they reference in here, they talk about Exhibit A and B I haven't seen yet. We really don't have a firm commencement date on this agreement. I'm going into number 3. We don't have a firm commencement date. They say that they're going to pay us $1,000 to commence, but there's no firm commencement date.
I think it was indicated it was like 45 days from the signing of the agreement.
Well, if that's the case, I didn't see it. I just asked, when we get the clean copy, that's one thing that I'll be looking for. And then the district has to, in the red line B on page 2, the bottom paragraph, the district got to prove ownership, and then it references the easements or the entrances and all that, you know, guarantee that we have. The district, it's a question for staff, the district owns where the water tower is and the sewer plant and all. Who owns or controls the access to that from State Park Road 100?
We have a gated fence that,
But from 100 to that, who controls that? That's county land, isn't it? Or, okay. So my question is, are we guaranteeing access to Verizon? Well, we don't have control of that space between 100 to the tower. And that's what it's...
It'd have to be an easement like a road, though.
It is, but they're asking for us, the district, to guarantee it. So I don't know.
it's a road, it's a public road, so I believe it's...
Well, it's got to be a granted easement. It's not a platted easement, I don't think, and I can be wrong on that, but that's one question I came up with.
Is this basically the same contract we have with AT&T?
Sure, it's a lot more involved.
No?
Not exactly.
Okay. The only thing that stood out, well, one of the things that stood out for me is the termination is pretty quick on their behalf. Actually, the termination begins when they send us the letter in the mail, not when we receive it, or any time after that.
Mentioned 30 days on it.
Yeah, and the district has that in 12 on page 6. describes the termination. I had a question on the insurance. They require $1 million injury, $500,000 for damage. Just make sure that that insurance is within realms of a current insurance policy, that we're not incurring additional expense to meet this agreement. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Excellent comments. You put a lot of effort and time into this.
A lot.
So, does the
It's been,
board
3 months?
move forward to approve?
We can't approve. We can
Well,
approve the draft, and direct staff and legal to go ahead and request the final document for review and for approval, and then staff and legal review it, and then bring it to us to approve.
Well, the
My
question
understanding,
that
Carlos
they have
asked
is
for-
that they're not gonna move and fix anything until the board approves. And the
Approve this
final
draft.
agreement is when it's signed, so, you know, if y'all can move to approve and look at it, I'll bring
Move
it
to
back
approve
again,
this draft.
so they can fix that agreement.
Is that a
Not, they're
motion?
not gonna move forward.
Is that a motion?
I
The motion
can't-
could
I'm
be,
not-
I'll make a
I
motion.
make
All right.
a motion made by R. Wells,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Houston. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are, none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Someone popped some champagne.
Dude, how long's it been on there?
Hey, what you can say is,
It was 3% last month.
Yeah.
Moving to item number 11, consider an award,
What about 10?
excuse me, 10. Consider and approve resolution amending the district's policy governing the annexation of land to the Laguna Madre Water District and the furnishing of water and sewer service to annex land, resolution number 155-12-17.
Now, we did have an annexation committee meeting, and based on that meeting, we were proposing to lower the volume for water treatment and sewer treatment costs, and we basically amended our water rights, our water supply capacity to match the current market rate. So we're just proposing to adjust our fees.
So this is what we talked about at that deal with
Right.
Yes.
Campbell out there? Okay, and these are the numbers we talked about as far as lowering the sewer part of it? We're not lowering the water part of it, we're lowering the sewer.
No, we lowered both.
We're lowering
you
both
lower.
treatment capacity volume for water and sewer. So the
Oh,
both.
for water and sewer, okay, I thought it was just sewer,
No.
okay.
No, it's both, we cut it in half.
Okay.
It's still about $1,500 per single-family home.
What percentage are we lowering it in the end, about, from what we have it, roughly?
Roughly, I mean, for buying capacity, we lowered it like 50%.
Yeah.
Buy-in, but then you adjusted your rates also by about 50%, but I think when it does settle, it's only gonna be 30 to 35%.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. I mean, water supply, we just raised it like $100 per acre foot, because that's really the market rate. It was a-
500.
Or 500. 500 really just corrected it to that.
So you think we're at market rate now?
Oh, yeah. Well, like 2,000 acre feet, we're not gonna find water rights at 2,000 acre feet, so 2,500 is what it's going at right now. So that's why.
And you added the language to address if they had their own water rights, that they could bring them in and all that, which is
Yep.
good.
Yeah, I just clarified the conversion for Class A and Class B, because that's been a lot of confusion in the past.
There's either a typo or bad math under the fee schedule for wastewater treatments, single family. The old annexation policy was 120 gallons per day. The new proposed is 110.
That's probably a typo, we'll keep it at
And
120.
then you got 480, should be 440, so I assume that's a typo.
Yeah.
So we'll make that correction. I move to approve with that correction.
Second.
Motion by motion made by D. Wells, seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are, none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 11, consider and award construction of Padre Gravity Sewer Crossing at La Quinta, bid number WW-17-11-11-04.
So on this that process we've been talking about, where we prepared the plan with the house, and we had a bid opening December 6th, and we received the 6th bid, and our low bid was from G2 Paving Company from Round Texas for an amount of $89,175. We recommend award to G&T for that amount.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Houston.
Questions, discussion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Second made by, Mr. Avalos. All those in favor?
No, we...
No, we need
Oh,
to
okay.
discuss that.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
On this bid, I have two questions. One is that part of the agreement that was verbal was that the district was going to get a recorded easement on the east side of Padre Boulevard, allowing this to go into, and then they could do their own connection with their own lines, and then the district, easement conveyed to the district for maintenance of those future lines.
Right.
Do we have a recorded easement where this is going to be put in?
Right now, the draft agreements have been completed by our attorney, and they just got sent out to their attorney for review, 2 days ago? So everybody's in agreement, we're just in the matter of getting signatories for both the owner and the deed of trust.
Okay, so my caution is that we don't want to perform this work until we get that easement conveyed to the district.
Yeah, and we can...
And we can't even work on that area, so we don't want to build a pipeline to nowhere. And
I mean,
without that easement, we are, effectively.
right, I mean, the easement, I think it's a matter of just getting it through signatures, it's pretty cut and dry. That's the stage of where it's at right now. We've already got the title recorded, so we understand that we have the authority to grant the easement. We're getting easements on Clayton's courtyard, which is at Modern Resorts, and then on the Tiki as well. All three of those are at the point of, you know...
That's my only caution, that's my only caution.
So all three are giving us easements?
Cool.
That's my only caution, that before we actually break ground on this, that we have this in hand, we can approve this. But then I individually like to, I can support this tonight, but our decision in executive session related to a property that it's going to connect to has a bearing on how I feel we should proceed.
Right, and I can put that condition in the notice of award, where we don't proceed until the easement's final.
I'm also saying we have an item on executive session to discuss tonight. I'm not discussing it now. If we're going to go holding a axe handle, this, wait.
There was a motion made for approval by Mr. Houston and seconded by Mr. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are, none opposed, motion carries, thank you. Item number 12, consider and approve resolution adopting a budget amendment to capital projects for fiscal year 2017 through 2018 of Laguna Monterey Water District Resolution number 1561217. Charles?
Right, yeah, and this is just basically an adjustment on our account to match our actual expenses compared to what we approved back on August 9th for our capital plan. And then one of the major items on the second page is the decrease, because we had budgeted a lot of accounts based on the election, bond election being approved, and being that they didn't approve, we're just removing that $2.4 million from the budget accordingly. So I'm going to basically replace the various accounts.
Yes, Doyle?
Charles, going on the first page where we're looking at the increase section, and what's jumping out at me is the wastewater treatment water supply of $2,664,000. Why are we having to increase it that much from our budget before? How would we overlook that much on our original budget?
Well, what happened is when the budget got approved, we put $2.6 million in the account for Quadras Pump Station, which is the completed project. And so I'm actually removing $2.6 million from Quadras Pump Station and only adding $2 million to the wastewater plant, which is the correct GL account. So it's just a correction. I'm reclassifying the funds to the correct GL account.
You lost me.
Yeah.
You're taking from water and applying, you take it from wastewater that we had applied to before, we're not going to do it now, so now you're applying that as an increase to
No, what happened is
wastewater?
On our Series 2012 projects, which are all, the GL account starts with 31, there's Quadras Pump Station, which we completed several years ago. There's been no activity on that account, but for whatever reason, that got assigned a $2.6 million budget in August, which was obviously just a key mistake. And so this budget amendment puts that into the right account. I mean, that's basically what the change is.
So the other $500,000, where did that get allocated?
Oh, the other $500,000, I put it in the sewer infrastructure, the 3517-7156 for $450,000. That's basically to support our big balances and cover the purchase order for the construction contract.
How did finance make a mistake on keying that in?
You gotta ask our...
I won't ask. We're good, thank you.
Can't ask.
So that was our missing fund that nobody knew where it was.
Yeah, well, there's a retainage on the escrow of $570,000 from the TWB loan that's in the Mellon Bank, and so we're gonna add that as an accounts receivable, so that'll help balance the numbers.
So is our interim finance director / director of operations understanding what I'm not understanding?
No, I've been talking to the auditors, and the posting on the 5.8 million was made for 5.3. For some reason, that receivable was never posted, so the auditors did catch that, and we're posting that as of the end of September. They've got that just an entry that they sent to us today.
So our budget amendment that we're considering now is in line with what is being picked up and recommended by our current audit?
Yes.
Is that a fair statement? Thank you. Move to approve.
Motion made by D. Wells, seconded by Mr. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to 13, consider and approve the purchase of 3 2018 model year half-ton 4x2 wheel drive extended cab truck long bed. Whoa.
Questions?
Yes, Doyle?
We need to replace some of the trucks we own right now. From the lease we received, was we recommended for we go by
I have a question on the justification part of it. To me, justification is really about why you need it, as opposed to the process about how we're acquiring this. What is the justification in purchasing these?
to replace the old ones.
Right. What are we doing with the old ones, and how long have we had them, and that's what I consider the justification.
All that justification was discussed during the budget time,
Okay.
August, and we brought it to the board at that time, which you weren't in there, here at the board, with the board yet. But the old units that were in bad shape, that you can't drive them anymore.
So these are, I mean, these are obsolete vehicles.
Yes.
junkers.
So
Okay.
we replaced the old unit and
Yeah.
the years, and we have all that information if you need it.
Yeah, no, and the
You
reason
can
I bring it
provide
up, is because to me, that's what justification is why we're getting it, why we're having to do this purchase, not the process by which somebody bid it. That's what I would like to see in these justification reports, is like, this is why we're getting it, guys, because
We can do
the
that.
truck we have is so old and beat up, it won't even run anymore.
Not
The
safe.
tires are falling off, it's a safety issue. That's justification to me.
These new vehicles will be replacing, I think it's 2001? 2001
Yeah.
vehicles that we have, that we're in the process of trying to get those vehicles, excuse me, along with any surplus that we have, so we can have a salvage sale.
Right.
Well, your question is valid, or your comment is very important as clarification. And I'll concur with Mr. Galvan, is that we're in budget, and we're looking at it and realizing that, there's just a little bit of money go around, and we knew some equipment had to be replaced. We said, well, get 3 trucks. May I ask a few questions to this, please, now?
Yes, go ahead.
Why are we asking for 2018 instead of close out 2017 models? The bid spec specified 2018.
Yes.
And why wouldn't we request 2017 close-out models and save the money? I don't see any bid specs on here other than half-ton 4x2 extended cab, and it doesn't tell me if you're wanting to get carpet or rubber mats.
Okay, all time.
And let me finish. And so, in the bid specs, my question really is, were the bid specs specified as to what units that we wanted? And then I get into looking at the individual bids we have, and the low bidder really didn't comply with the bid specs. The bid specs were extended cab, and he's proposing quad cabs. And he's not providing any delivery time. So has that been addressed?
first of all the bid, the requirements, that's what I been provided by, the management.
Did you put it in the bid specs?
Yes.
Did you say 4x2, you said 4x2 extended cab, because that's all I've seen on the bid specs.
Yes, yes.
It didn't say, give me your custom model or your base model, as opposed to what Joel wants to drive around in with the carpet plush seats.
Satellite radio.
Satellite radio. And I still ask, why would we not try to get a 2017?
We might get some better deals out
They're
there.
really trying to move them out the door.
He just did what he was told.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
thank you. You did what was requested of you. I'm not criticizing you at all. I'm bringing it to staff now to say, why didn't we say, hey, guys, what do you have left over in 2017 that we can save some money on? And
We
then,
didn't think about it, that's why.
well, I'm the horse trader here, so,
And Dodge does discount them more than anybody when they've got the last year's model.
yeah.
They
yeah.
do,
And I believe
big
we
time.
can
I
still
bought
do
a
that.
bunch of Dodge.
Yeah.
I
We can-
just amend that. I mean, I'd like to, it won't put us back a whole lot. I don't oppose this, but I sure don't want to lose any money if it's available to us, especially this time of the year when they don't want to carry them. And then I want to very clarify, when you're trying to keep bids consistent, that, some of them didn't bid for various reasons. And some of them had like 120 days lead time for delivery. That's crazy. The low bidder didn't put any delivery time, so, we need them this year. The next coming year.
Well, we are requesting, they don't normally have it on their lot, on their factor, but
They're a phone call away. They got delivery trucks running south all the time.
Can we just table this and see if we can do a little?
Yeah,
No
I
great
think-
research.
I think,
Refining of it.
this bid here stays for 90 days or
Yeah.
60 days.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we can do
Table it.
2017s.
Mr. Mitch Houston made a motion to table, I second.
Motion to table on Mr. Houston, seconded
And
by
ask
D.
staff
Wells.
to go ahead to,
Amend the,
go ahead and make a few phone calls and see what's better available.
And just, for the record, I guess, just to make it clear that Mr. Santiago has full authority to ask these people, hey, this is what we want, not what you're trying to get rid of. So you have full authority to tell them exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But we want to know what they want to get rid of, too.
But go back to Gilman, Bogus, and Tipotex, because they may have 2017s. They didn't have any 20,
sure, good call. Good point, Mr. Wells.
And check on buy board.
There was a motion made by Mr. Houston, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries to table. Moving on to item number 14, consider and approve the purchase of 4 industrial self-contained breathing apparatus, ISCBA, with face piece.
we need this, mask or wastewater plants, like for the personnel going into tanks. I don't know if gas is, chlorine tank. Chlorine tank. For the protection. I think this was something that also was already approved by the time when they approved the trucks.
Do we not have masks currently, or these just need to be?
No, we do, but, we have a mask with filter on it, and then we have one entity in each tank. And it takes 2 operators to change the chlorine tank.
All right.
But, the base manager advised me that it'd be better for both operators to have one entity in, opposed to having the one with the.
Just the filters?
I got a question on the equipment itself, and these are very good prices, by the way, because I did check on these, and they're about $800, $900 savings,
If
which
you
is
knew which
substantial.
model it was. I
Yes.
did the same.
That particular model, the one we're requesting. My question is, are we
model was
getting
given.
some of the accessories like the tanks, the straps, does it come complete, or are we gonna have to purchase it? Okay, so we're getting tanks, the straps, the hip, the harness, everything, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Question?
A la carte, yes, Bill.
I printed off what I think is the bid from Texas Bid Network. I see on here that 2 did not respond because they could not provide on-site training. Was that specified in the bid?
Yes.
And we don't have scuba equipment now? And we need training on the new ones?
I think it's important when something
Oh,
happens.
he's shaking his head no.
I have a volunteer fire department, guy in my crew, and he's the one that wants to deal with the training.
And my only concern is that we didn't get 2 bids because they couldn't provide the training, but we required it in the bid specs when I'm hearing that it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, well, when you're certified training, something happens, the first thing will say, they didn't, give me proper training and this happened.
Is there a certified trainer at the fire department?
Certified is
It's a whole different animal.
So I think it's important.
Well, I don't dispute that, but I'm just sorry to interrupt, but I don't dispute that question at all. I'm just asking that, a lot of times there's certified trainers that can train you in any of this equipment. I'm just a little concerned that we cut 2 people out of the bidding process because of that requirement. I agree with Mr. Avalos. These are pretty good prices. So I have no problem supporting this agenda item to approve it. I just bring up those points for future discussion.
And I have the quotes for these 2 companies, before when the manager makes this material, right, when we go out for prices to see if we can purchase it without advertising or not. And these 2 companies are high in price than one is.
The 2 that did not provide a service, you got verbal quotes from them, or?
We have that quote,
Yeah, I don't dispute that at all. I'm just trying to make sure we save all the bucks we can. Move to approve.
Second. Motion made by Dewell, seconded by Mr. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
There are none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item 15, consider and approve revenue and expense reports for September 2017 and October 2017.
Yes, sir. What I've presented here is the September or year-end report for 2017. That first page is a summary. It shows the total revenue of $9,745,144.31, which came under budget by $389,824.69. The total expenditures was at $9,695,592.46. That also came under budget by $439,377.54. The revenue over expenditures was $49,551.85. Pages 2 through 10, 11 are all the details for each department. Second page is the detail of the revenues by account. I don't know if you have any questions concerning that, but you can see on the second page the total revenue on the water side was $5,481,244.09, and the total revenue on the sewer services was $3,713,415.81.
Did anything stand out to you that didn't look right?
No, not right off, no, sir.
Okay.
I got a question on 411, page 411. The third item from the bottom, expense meters. I was having a hard time making sense of those numbers.
Those are meters that are replaced, and what was happening here this past year, and this was something that the auditors had brought up last year as well, is that whenever a meter is replaced, it was being expensed, it was being capitalized. I talked to the auditors again this year, and what happens is we buy these meters, we put them in inventory, and as they go bad, then they get replaced, and so they get expensed at that point. So it's coming off actually from the inventory.
From the inventory.
Yes, sir.
So we used up $50,000 of inventory.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to do. I'll move to
The
approve this.
second report is the October report. Because the year is not closed yet, this report is only showing the October revenue and expenditures. It doesn't have the current budget. Until we close the year, it won't load the approved budget. So once the audit is made, or the auditors give us the closing entries, we'll go ahead and post them, close the year. I'll bring back another October report so you can see the comparison on the revenue and expenditures with the budget. But so far, the revenue collected for October was $697,871.84, and the expenditures is $489,074.81. For October, we're showing revenue over expenditures of $208,797.03. Again, the following pages show you the detail. On page 2, you have the revenue detail, and it shows water for the month of October at $394,788.75, with the sewer at $263,849.63. Do you have any questions on anything that I could try and answer?
On page 1 of 11, why do you think we missed our mark on revenue?
I'm sorry?
Why do you think we missed the mark on projected revenue?
I'm not sure what the mark was at this point.
Well, we had estimated over $10 million in revenues, but actually only 9.7 came in. My question is, there was an estimation by this board, I guess, what we were expecting. My question is, why do you think we didn't get up there? Anybody?
Rain and usage,
Okay,
personally.
okay,
I think demand is down. We're selling less, and we had a lot of rain this
yeah.
year.
Well, that,
Are we looking at the second report or the first report?
October.
Page 1 of 11.
October.
Page 2011, but is this for October you're asking?
No, the September 30th report.
September 30th, oh, okay. I'm
Just
sorry.
asking for the total revenues
Yeah.
coming in.
Now, what Scott says, it makes sense. That's what I was
well, the
looking for.
10.1 versus the 9.4, that's what you're referencing?
Well, the 9.7 year-to-date. You have the budget was 10.1, but the year-to-date actual is 9.7.
It's a moving target.
Well,
Yeah,
my
because-
comment was, and is, that it's a guesstimate
Sure.
at budget time, and that budget was based on the year prior, and as conservative as it can be. So then it would be just weather fluctuation, etc.
Less demand.
Yeah.
I can tell you why. We don't have as many Mexican nationals up here this summer that use a lot of water. And ask Brownsville and McAllen about their sales tax figures.
Yeah.
It's the condos that aren't, the big condos, a lot of them aren't even hitting their minimums right now.
Okay.
And that is probably the reason water usage is down, because they're just not in here like they used to be.
So usage is down.
I just gotta take a lot of showers.
That
But usage is down, Doyle, big time in the big condos. They're just not in here
Yeah.
like they usually are.
Well, the revenues are down, but the expenditures are up. So,
We just need Charles to miss some meetings. So I say that with fondness, I say that with fondness.
All right, moving on, action? Move to approve. Motion for approval by Mr. Houston, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
There are any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item number 16, consider and review expenditures for November 1 through 30th, 2017. Carlos?
Any questions on that?
No, I move to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Houston
Second.
for approval, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
I got
Yeah.
a question, I do have a question on
Yes.
this. I noticed we have Imperial Electric, river motor repair. That was
Yes,
done, are those installed already?
One of them is, the other, we just,
The other one we just received,
Right.
and, we're gonna install it soon.
Okay.
Motion was by Mr. Houston, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
There are none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item 17, consider executive session as permitted by the Open Meetings Act, BTCA Government Code Section 551001, as sequence under Section 551071, consultation with attorney, Section 551074, 1, authorizing certain deliberations about officers and employees of the district to be held in executive session. Item A, discussion on legal matters with counsel concerning 6900 Pottery Boulevard through 7200 Pottery Boulevard. Item B, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline or dismissal of district employees to a district engineer. Item C, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline or dismissal of district employees to it, Director of Finance. Need a motion to go into executive session with a 5-minute break,
So
beginning
moved.
at 7:03. Motion made by R. Wells.
Second.
Seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive session with a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to come out of executive session at 7:45 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Alvo, seconded by Mr. Houston. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are. We are out of executive session. Item A, discuss on legal matters with counsel concerning 6900 Pottery Boulevard through 7200 Pottery Boulevard. Proceed as directed. Item B, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, dismissal, or district employees to a district engineer. Proceed as directed with the general manager. Item C, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, dismissal, or district employees to a director of finance. There is no action. Meeting is adjourned at 7:46 PM. Motion to come in the meeting. Thank you.